Shalom, shalom. So, I'm gonna jump into conquistadors real quick. I put out a book about about the roots, herbs, and medicines and stuff. So I'm gonna try to do both books as much as possible. So I'm gonna jump in. This is the first contact with the Aztecs. Here we go. The fleet pressed on and reached the Isles of Sacrifice, where Grava had landed the year before. On Monday, Thursday. Oh, my fault. It's Monday. Monday. Not Monday, it's Monday. Thursday, the 20th, April 1519. It is a small island, sheltered by a reef and marked by a line of roaring surf. There is a sandy beach on the landward side, and a pale tide of white coral and driftwood along the shore, fringed with palm trees. The island is a military post today, and throughout the night its lighthouse sends out a slow, eerie flash, lighting up the sea. To the west, the red shore of the mainland stretches away, flat, low, surf beaten and crowned by tall palms. On a clear day, from the crow's nest of a ship, one can see far inland to the majestic 20,000-foot snow-capped volcanoes of the Orizaba Range. What lay beyond, Cortez was soon to discover. Canoes paddled out from the shore, bearing messengers from the local governor. The people were, Teutontics, who remembered their previous Spanish visitors with affection. Garava had been careful to be kind to the natives, who had even thought that the Spanish might be possible allies in their war of liberation against the Mexicans. The locals gave Cortez gifts: meat, fish, tortillas, turkeys, cloaks, and ornaments. They also asked for some of the men they had met with Garava. How is Benito, the tambourine player? He had danced with them the previous year and did so again. Too much laughter. Cortez gave them some presents for their chiefs: clothes, shirts, and doublets. The jolly atmosphere changed 2 days later when a messenger arrived from the great king of Mexico himself, accompanied by a huge train of bearers who brought food supplies for Cortez. All right. Okay. The next day, Easter Sunday, the steward of the Aztecs came in person. They met on the shore by a little white-walled Teutonic town where Veracruz now stands. The steward's name was Tudor, and like all functionaries of the great kings, he was very aware of his own high status. Gorgeously turned out in a parrot feather coat. This thing's casting a shadow I can't see. All right. The Emperor of Mexico, if we may so call the Toana, the great speaker of the Aztecs, was Montezuma II. He had Tudor said heard of the new arrivals. He knew of the Guava expedition and had heard of the Battle of Tabasco River. He had instructed his stewards to supply and feed his guests, and to offer them gifts of precious stones, featherware. Tudor put a damp finger to the earth and raised it to his lips. To eat dirt was a gesture of respect in Aztec diplomacy. Then he lit incense, and to the Spaniards' surprise, bled himself and offered them his blood on a straw. We had straws, y'all. It was a formal beginning of the Spanish acquaintance with the elaborate customs of the Aztec universe, and an insight into the symbolic value that the Aztec culture placed on blood. Tudor also offered them food sprinkled with blood, at which one or two Spaniards nearly threw up. On a more practical note, he thoughtfully put 2,000 servants at Cortez's disposal and to build wood and palm leaf huts as the rainy season was approaching. The Aztecs then watched, perplexed, as the Spanish performed one of their own characteristic rituals, kneeling and saying their Easter prayers to a simple wooden cross placed in the sand. After this, they ate together with Angler and Malinche halting, translating. Cortez presented himself as the ambassador of the king who ruled the greater part of the world. So the greater part, ain't that something? The king, the king had heard of Mexico and had sent Cortez as a representative. Liar. Cortez asked after Montezuma. Where is he? We would like to meet him. Tudor replied that Montezuma was always a great king who was served by lesser rulers. Concerning Cortez's arrival, he would of course send a message to Montezuma to find out his wishes. In the meantime, he offered them, in Montezuma's name, a chest containing gold objects and cotton cloths. That's what he messed up right there. Cortez rustled up some of the gifts in response: beads and pearls, a studded chair, and a crimson cat, with which Tudor accepted, giving the impression. One of the Spaniards observed that he thought them excrement. Wait a minute, what? He thought them Okay. Cortez then took the opportunity to give the Aztecs a demonstration of his guns and horses. His cavalry charged along the beach at full tilt, with swords flashing and bells tinkling. If that were not intimidating enough, the big cannon were fired, at which Tudor and his men literally fell to the ground in fear. By now, Cortez understood, of course, that the Mexicans lacked guns and wished to impress them with the killing power of his weapons. Yeah, I bet he did. Yeah, he did that to see what they had. All right, two more scenes. Oh, so this is a picture. I'm sorry, a drawing, I guess, of the emissaries meeting Cortez that Montezuma sent. So it says, two more scenes from the Florentine Codex, our most valued record of the Aztec side of the story. Emissaries of Montezuma met Cortez on the road above. They returned to distraught Montezuma below. Okay, my heart burns as it has been washed in chilies. So, guess what, guys? Just our luck. I have the Florentine Codex. So let's find what they're talking about. So it says two machines of Florentine Codex recorded. All right, the emissaries of Montezuma. Let's find it, y'all. Eagle almonds, which they told Spanish robbing their boats. He was kind of both. He saw first king. All right, commanded when he was Spanish. He came. All right, in which he told messengers enter. Return here. All right. Okay. All right. So I think it would be the 7th chapter. So that would be on page 15. So let me get that real quick for you guys. Yeah. You know, pull a witness out real quick, you know. Let's see. Hold on. Yes, sir. All right, hold on now. Trying to find it. Okay, right, y'all ready? So this is going to be a witness of what I just read about them shooting the gun and all that. All right, so here we go. All right, this is 5th chapter. This is the Florentine Codex, pretty much what I just read in the book Conquistadors. 5th chapter, in which it is told what came to pass when Montezuma messengers entered there into Don Hernando Cortez's boat. Thereupon they climbed up. In their arms they each carried an array of the gods. Well, I think they added that because that's not what it said in there, but okay. When they had proceeded to climb up into the boat, each one of the group separated ate the earth before the captain. Yep. So we know that just happened. Where he put his finger in the dirt. Thereupon they prayed to him. That didn't happen because they didn't say that. They said to him, "May the God deign hear his governor Montezuma, who watched over Mexico for him, prayeth unto him. He saith, the God hath suffered fatigue. He is weary." Y'all see this, right? So this is where, like, what we all talk about. You know, you got to be mindful how they just stick stuff in there and make it like our people was like praising them as gods. We knew they weren't gods. We knew what they. Well, you know, our forefathers, they knew it. They knew what they were coming here. They were warned. You know, and if it talks about the signs that Montezuma saw before they even got here, 10 years before they got here, then, you know, that would let you know that he knew. Okay. And plus, they used to sing songs about it anyway. And Judah read something about that today. Was that today? He put up the 3 videos. No, last night. He put up the 3 videos where our people were singing songs while in slavery, speaking about them prophesied to come here. But they thought they weren't going to stay long. Thereupon they arrayed the captain. They put him into a turquoise mosaic serpent mask with which went the quetzal feathers, head fan, and with which went with which were inserted, with which went suspended the green stone serpent earplugs. And they put him into the sleeveless jacket. They clad him into the sleeveless jacket, and they put the necklace on him. They plaited green stone neck band, in the midst of which went the golden disc. Oh goodness! To his back, they bound the mirror for the small of the back. Also, on his back, they placed a cape named Zitzazila. Sound like it's saying zit, like those tassels. And about the calf of his leg they placed a green stone band with a golden shell. And they laid upon his arm the shield with bands of gold crossing bands of shells, on whose lower rim went quetzal feathers, outspread on which went a quetzal feather flag. And before him they laid the obsidian sandals, and the other three adornments, the array of the gods, they only placed in order, placed in rows before him. And when this had been done, the captain said to them, "Are these all your gifts and greetings?" So this is actually telling you what they gave, because in the book it didn't give you like a detail what they gave. So this right here is actually confirming what Judah was saying. Well, we all know it, but this is what Judah's been saying. The brothers think that you can get everything out of the Bible, and you can tell that you can read the Bible and it'll break and stop and go to a whole nother story. And it breaks down. So, and we know they didn't put everything in there, and they know that. So I don't see how they say that the Bible was pure and everything. I don't know. That's just crazy. But this right here just gave you a way more in-depth detail of what the gifts was that the messengers from Montezuma brung to Cortez. In the conquistador book, it said they brought gifts. But now it's telling you exactly what these gifts look like, what they did, and how they placed them on his body and everything. All right, so let me keep going. Okay. And it says, and when this had been done, the captain said to them, "Are these all the gifts of your greeting, your gifts for your approaching one?" So he was pretty much on some greedy stuff, like, "That's all you got?" You know what I mean? So they answered the Spaniards, "These are all with which we have come, O our Lord." Then the captain commanded that they be bound. Wow, you see that? They be put in irons, and their ankles and their necks. Okay, let me keep going, because it's another part that we're missing. All right, done. And then they shot the great Lombard gun, and the messengers, when this happened, indeed fainted away and swooned. They each fell, each one swaying and fell. Then they knew no more. And the Spaniards raised each one so that he sat. They made them drink wine. Thereupon they gave them food. They made them eat. Thus they restored them. Thus they regained strength. So the gun scared the life out of them, but the way the Conquistador book is explaining to you, yeah, it tell you that they scared them, but this is really telling you that they didn't even have life in their body. They were like exhausted from, the power of these weapons. So I'm going to read this last little paragraph, then we're going to jump back into the Conquistador book. And when this had come to pass, the captain said to them, "Here, I have known, I have heard that it is said that the Mexicans are very strong, very brave, great overthrowers. If there is one Mexican he can pursue, drive on, overcome, turn back, even 10, even 10 or even 20 of his foes. And now I wish to be satisfied. I wish to see you. I wish to test you, how strong you are, how powerful you are." That just show you. You see how war hungry they are. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is back when we was right. You hear the story of the 12 brothers, they probably would have, released themselves on them, Probably went to the bathroom on themselves. Alright, so where was I out? Now I'm gonna jump back into the Conquistadors book. Alright. The men who carried the story back to Montezuma reported the thunderous sound, the smoke, and the spurt of fire, the foul smell. They described how the shot canning bald, well, that's weird, bald had dissolved a hill and pulverized a tree. But did the Aztecs really understand that this was a weapon to be used against human beings? Although the Spanish publicized the fierce and unnatural cruelty of the Aztecs to the outside world, they also knew that the Aztecs were men without guns, steel, gunpowder, or horses. More important, more important, still perhaps the Aztecs lacked the Spaniards' confidence in being able to shape and manipulate the world. Cortez knew that the Aztec civilization was in many ways beautiful and extraordinary. He was sensitive to their art and crafts, which he thought superior to any in the world, but their civilization was at the level of the Bronze Age. That's a proud man. You hear that? So their art and craftsmanship was superior, but they just wasn't as good as they was. And although his numbers were few, the superiority of his technology was overwhelming. So again, just like our brother Judas said, they didn't give the praise to the Most High. They didn't. They see. They knew they're what are those Catholic priests and those monks or whatever they are. They knew that they was going to get a chance to rule, right? They knew that we was going to mess up and we was going to go into captivity. They knew all that. That's why they loaded the ship with dogs, guns, and weapons. You see what I'm saying? On the second voyage. So they knew. So if they knew this and they found this out in the books that they took from our people on that side, then it's really pretty much tell you that they didn't want to give the Most High no praise. They wanted to praise themselves. You see what I'm saying? Because that's what they're saying. Talking about their superiority of their technology was overwhelming. So too, he thought, were his mental thought of toughness and flexibility. So right there. And just like today, they still won't get the Most High credit, even for what's going on now with all them storms, all them earthquakes, all the stuff that's going on Earth. What they doing? Oh, it's the government. Oh, it's the what do they call those people? The Illuminati. It's this. It's that. Oh, it's the aliens. It's always something, but they will not give the God of Israel his just due, knowing that he's doing this. You know, they know what's happening. They know their time is up, but they gonna lie to you to the end. All right, so let's keep going. Before Tudor left, there was a last emblematic exchange. Cortez could not, of course, let such a momentous meeting end without asking if they had more gold. Of course. Here comes now that devilish spirit is going to reveal itself to them. And the good part is, this is actually a, oh God, I hate when I forget words. This is a witness for Judah because Judah read this last night, and I'm going to read it again in a different book. Here we go. It is, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. So before Tudor left, there was the last emblematic exchange. Cortez could not, of course, let such a momentous meeting end without asking if they had more gold. Here it comes. It is good for a bad heart. So he's saying the gold is good for a bad heart, said the supreme Ironis. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You see, my men suffer from a disease of the heart, which can only be assuaged by gold. Tudor replied, they did have more, lots of it. Well, that was a bad idea. It was, to say the least, a dangerous admission. Yes, it was. So the same thing Judah read in another book, I just witnessed that. That's a true statement. To a thing. Okay, so this is the court of Montezuma. Now, this is what I meant to say this from the beginning, right? So um if you know anything about what they were saying about our people saying that we were sacrificing children and people and all types of stuff, I'm gonna read something. This is something I'm gonna tell you what it is after I finish saying, but I'm gonna read something Montezuma did. And when I read this, I want y'all to decipher for yourself if you think they were sacrificing children. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they probably were praying to idols, but or whatever they were doing. But I just want y'all to hear this, and you tell me. Just listen to this, and when I read this, I'm gonna just read it. Okay, in the court of Montezuma, this is Montezuma. O Master, O our Lord, O Lord of the near and nigh, O night, O wind, now, in truth, I come to appear before thee. Let me not encounter your anger. O compassionate one, lessen your rage. Your city is as a baby, a child. I throw myself before thee. Does that sound like they was worshiping a lot of gods? It sounds like he was praying to the Most High. It really does. It sounds like an Isaiah prayer, a Jeremiah prayer, and a David prayer. It sounds like the same prayers. So, I mean, that's for y'all to decipher, We don't know, we really don't know what was really going on, but that prayer did not sound like he was praying to idols. Because he definitely put singular in there. There was no plural. Okay. So, the Titlatonai, something like that, Otanai, the great speaker of the Aztecs, sits on a richly carved stool, while black-clad priests move across the floor. Their dreadlock, hair matted with blood. Here we go. Their finger. This is why I was talking about this. I just want y'all to hear what I'm about to read too. Their fingernails dirty and uncut. Dirty and okay, y'all. Now you know how the Most High is about cleaning yourself. Just listen. Dirty and uncut. The flesh of their earlobes lacerated by the daily bloodletting. A smoldering blazer flares with incense. An aromatic wood bark musking the cloying smell of death in the house of snakes. You see how they try to make this like this some type of devilish ritual that the priests were doing. I'm not sure that that's what happened or what was going on, but you can't trust what they say. All right, let's keep it moving. 5 messengers came forward, traveled, stained from the road. They have hurried from the coast with news of their arrivals from across the sea. But before they speak, they must be purified with the blood of sacrifice. Okay. For they had gone into great danger. So how do the reader know that if they came back without nobody? Right here, they could be adding stuff in to make it sound like we were some type of cannibals or, you know what I mean, monstrous beasts. So when people read, they make it like it's, it was justified for them killing them. You see what I'm saying? Or them conquering and taking our land. So, you just got to be a little circumspect, because that just don't make sense how this writer would know if these men came back alone. How would they know they would have to be purified with blood? How would they know that these priests were busy sacrificing all day if they didn't know? They didn't see them. You see what I'm saying? Okay. All right, where was I at? All right, cool. All right, blah, blah, 4. Speak. Okay, and had gone into great danger. They had looked into the very faces of gods. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? You see? You see what they're doing, right? Now, it pretty much he told on himself. So first naked prisoners are brought from their cages, already drowsy from the hallucinogenic mushrooms, which will dull the pain of the sweet obsidian death. They are covered from head to toe with chalk. Then one by one they are stretched out on their backs on an altar. Then hearts are cut out with obsidian blades. The messengers are sprinkled with their blood. Sounds familiar, don't it? But it sounds like a sacrifice of an animal. Okay. Only now may they speak of the wonders they have seen. Montezuma, as we should strictly call him, but we will stick with the best known form of his name, is about 50 years old, although he looks 10 years younger. Like all of us do, right? Yeah. He is a good height, well proportionate, spare and slim. His hair cut just over his ears. He has a short, thin black beard, and his face, although rather long, is cheerful. He has fine, deep eyes, and so said one who knew him. In his demeanor, could express generally, or if needed, a serious composure. He may laugh heartily, giggling with delight when off duty, and when entertained by his gestures, and dwarfs his jugglers who bounce logs on their feet. But in his public duties, he is always contained. A stout, learned, discerning, and capable was a Spanish judgment of him. If we were able to look into his face and remember, no one may cast eyes on him in such meetings, we would no doubt think him extremely reserved. Repressed, even for when suitors speak to him, he looks at the floor and replies in a voice so low that he hardly seems to be moving his lips. But this was the courteous etiquette of the day. As polite as a Mexican Indian was a well-known phrase in 17th century Spain. And it is still true today that traditional Mexican people have an innate politeness of difference. So what Mexican people are they talking about? Yeah, think about that one. Because the people that they showing us that's Mexican, they don't look nothing like us. They have chinky eyes. Okay. Which many would trace to their ancestors. This natural diffidence was accentuated in the poetic, rhythmic speech of the court, inculcated in the college of nobility. Such public speaking was most admired when Montezuma spoke, he drew the sympathy of others by his subtle phrases, won them over by his profound reasoning. So if our people were, what do they call us, savages, why are they saying that? they just gave him all these praises. This is crazy. They just show you, they'll lie on one page and then tell the truth on another. Montezuma was then a noble king. Oh, now he's noble, but we were savages at the same time. And kept his court with great majesty and experienced ruler. He had been on the mat, as the Aztec would say, since 1503. He had won many victories against subject peoples, taking numerous noble captives for sacrifice. Oh, they are lying. I can tell they lying. And so how is he a noble king, but he running around sacrificing, killing people? That don't even make sense. And he had rebuilt the beautiful city on the lake with his magnificent ceremonial precinct. Oh God, this is crazy. It's like one sentence they lie on him, then the next sentence he's great, he's wonderful, he's a just king, but he's running around doing all this wicked stuff too. It don't make sense. But his was not a time to blind confidence, but of growing anxiety. Recently, military failures, economic trouble, and social unrest had appeared on the horizon. The old Aztec military virtues and rigid class structure had loosened, and their yeah, ethic. Sorry, y'all. I say ethnic. I don't know where I got the end from. Their ethic was under threat. No innovator, Montezuma had attempted to centralize power and maintain the overextended empire as bequeathed to him. A rigid character of repute, he had tried to crack the whip, hectoring generals and refusing public ceremonies for armies which failed. But at the heart of his problems was the very idea of the emperor, rapidly expanding over the Valley of Mexico. The empire, I'm sorry, over the Valley of Mexico and into Central America during the 15th century. The empire still existed for prisoners, tribute, and food levies. There was no idea of consolidation and nothing in it for the client peoples. And still its rulers and priests demanded human sacrifice to feed the insatiable appetite of its gods. They're lying, because you got to understand, if the kingdom was going through all this unrest and all this craziness, then why would they come and say that they were in like paradise and everything was peaceful and beautiful and serene? But now all of a sudden it's like this place is in an uproar from what they say. You to be honest, it seems like they're throwing their trash on us because they're the ones that they have this unsatiable bloodletting. And they always want to kill something. It don't matter what it is. They want to kill something. They make movies about killing something. You discover an animal you never seen, or a creature or a beast or something the Most High made. The first thing they think about is killing it and cutting it open to see how it works. So it seems like they're throwing their trash on him. All right, the gods who it would believe needed the gift of human hearts, the most precious lifeblood to ensure their cooperation in maintaining the precarious and terror-laden order of their cosmos. It was literally a fatal obsession. So now was a dangerous moment in their external relations, were still unresolved. Antagonism, their subject state, especially Teotexlan, I think that's what it says, still resisted their rule. But looking inward, there was also a loss of confidence in themselves, in the imperial cosmology that had stood them well during their rise to power in such times of certainty. All states have in course to the certainties of the past. But for the Aztecs, the certainties of the past were ambiguous indeed. For among the prophecies that were central to their ideology, see what I'm talking about, these words, was that one that called into question their continual primacy in their adopted home in the lake. the one that told how the exile god Quetzalcoatl would one day return to reclaim his mat. Lie, right there. How did I'm gonna leave it alone? But I already see where they're going at it. They're going to say that they're Quetzalcoatl or one of their people was, oh, he's white. Watch they do it. I guarantee they're gonna do it. Watch. So Montezuma now urgently consulted with his leaders and kinsmen. Perhaps they met inside the sacred enclosure in the House of Eagles, its precinct, the main theater of the Aztecs. Ritual drama and cosmic terror is a vast stuccoed court, 500 yards square. In their victorious heyday, thousands of prisoners quailed to be sacrificed here. You hear how this man is lying? This man is lying through his teeth. Their broken bodies thrown down the steps. The House of Eagles, a splendidly decorated single-story building on a massive plinth, 170 feet long by 100 feet wide, lies in the shadow of the Great Pyramid. From the portico of the house, we can look out on the cluster of small shrines, altars, and skull racks. Oh my God, these people are. And behind them raises an immense white stucco wall, which gleams in the glare of the Mexican sun. The Great Pyramid of Toltec, the god of weather and rain, which looms 120 feet above us, that of the war god I'm not saying his name, lies behind. From the House of Eagles, we cannot see the crusted river and dry blood on the pyramid steps, but despite clouds of copal incense wafting from the altars, we can smell it. So how was this place so splendid if it was blood everywhere? So what happened to the rain? So rain don't wash blood? These people lie a lot. In a splendid cloak shimmering with macaw feathers, Montezuma mounts the steps between eagles' heads painted in bright orange, brown, and yellow. At the top, he walks through a colonnade patio into the inner hall, past life-size structures and the elite eagle warriors. The room is among the most private of the Aztec state. Here, out of the sun's glare, it is cool. Round the wall is a low bench with sculpted processions of warriors painted in bright greens, blues, and deep reds. In the shadows, and eerie, larger than life figures of the gods, of their dead, of the dead, with skeletal bodies, claws like hands, and huge grinning heads. From their viscera, the livers hang down like tumescent banana plants. Such images are not designed to be comforting, but then we all take our religious images for granted. And to some non-Christians, a tortured figure on a cross is no less than disturbing. So he's saying they had a tortured, unless they might be talking about them. Although as yet untouched by the newcomers, the Montezuma's priests and magicians, the keepers of books, the eagle warriors are in no doubt. They have reached a crisis. Yeah, they had a crisis because of y'all. They now need to categorize these aliens. Right, exact. I told you. So all this lying he just did, talking about the city was in unrest and all this stuff was going on, but now he's literally telling you the truth with one sentence. Now they need to categorize these aliens, talking about them. All clues and was this scrutinized, no detail too small. The aliens' food will be subject to an analysis like rocks from another planet. It proves to be white and sweet tasting. Tudao, the Aztec ambassador from the coast, has brought artists with him who had sketched the foreigners on cloth. I told you. You see how one page he's sitting there talking about all this stuff was going on in the midst of the government, of this government or whatever, and they was unrest and all this craziness. They was trying to say amongst us, but here he just told you all this turmoil and all this stuff that's going on is because of them. Because I'm gonna tell you why. It's because our people are seeing prophecy being unraveled right before their eyes. So yeah, I would be scared too. You see what I'm saying? That's why their behinds are scared now. Well, the ones that know, with their guns and horses, as well, would take photographs. These paintings are now shown to Montezuma with descriptions of what they signify. Yup, see, he already knows of the earlier Spanish landing on the Yucatan, and has doubtless heard stories about the one true God. I'm quite sure Montezuma know about the Most High, but that one true God they talking about, they Jesus dude. The great king overseers of the strangers' hostility to human sacrifice. Everything he hears causes alarm. All right, I'm gonna read this little note at the bottom. Completely covered their bodies with cloths except their faces. Their faces were white. Their eyes were like chalk. Their hair often fair and sometimes, though black and curly. Most of them had a long beard. Their battle array was iron. They clothed themselves for war in iron, covered their heads with iron, and used iron for swords, shields, and lances. See that? That just show you right there. This man lied 2 pages straight and then told the truth in one little paragraph. Just like Judah tell, just like it's crazy because all our brothers and sisters are reading the same stories, and it's literally just telling you the truth. How these people are liars. They can't tell the truth to save their life. All right, it's a caption right here, and then I'm gonna read the rest of this little paragraph, and I'll get at you on the next one. In their wicked sacrifices, they worship the devil as their god. You see, liar. Believing they could offer no finer tribute than human hearts from the 17th century Dorian Codex. The Spanish saw the conquest as a punishment for human sacrifice. The god Quetzalcoatl emerges from the jaws of the earth, enigmatic, pale-faced, and bearded. What did I tell you? Did not tell y'all they was going to say that Quetzalcoatl was a white man. Did I tell y'all? I knew they was going to do it sooner or later. Pale-faced and bearded. Like the Spanish, he opposed human sacrifice. A disturbing coincidence for that. I told y'all. All right, let me read this last paragraph. The devil, as always, is in the detail. One of the helmets given by Cortez, an old Moorian parade helmet with faded gilt, was shown to Montezuma, who confirmed that it resembled what the god, I can't read this, but it hits us somebody Potle or something like that, wears in the great temple of Tenochtitlan. Other phenomena were no less unnerving. The noise of the guns, with their foul smell and power to splinter trees, and foaming horses and slavering dogs. And for Montezuma himself, equally sinister and threatening was the arrogant demeanor of the strangers in asking after him. What sort of man was, I'm going to just read this last little piece, was Montezuma? Old, young, strong-minded, or feeble? What sort of being asks such impertinent questions beyond the pale of any civilized diplomatic adequate? I guess that's what that's at. Montezuma, a former priest, a man of the cloth, a adept of reading signs, he grows pale. My heart burns as if it is washed in chilies when the analysis comes from his wise men. It is bleak. We are not as strong as they. We are nothing compared to them. On this reading, the course of events will hinge. So, okay. Now, I'm quite sure y'all can tell I was getting a little upset. This does bother me. So this, where I just turned and I was reading right here, the writer literally was being a smart behind, because he was sitting there saying, like, what kind of man is him to ask, you know, what type of people were they, and like what, what, as far as like what were their strengths and stuff. So in a way, he was trying to call him a coward. You know what I mean? But it's funny because, watch what happened. Y'all just watch. And another thing too, I just thought about this. This is actually, you know why they putting all this mess in here too? I mean, one thing to discredit us, of course, but also when it comes out, because I swear to y'all, I think one of these people that's like renowned is going to spill the beans, and then they're going to say, "Oh, y'all were sacrificed." They're going to bring up all this bull crap to try to, make us sound like we will these savage, crazy people. And too, y'all hear who the savage ones are. But my brothers and sisters, it bothers me. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna keep it pushing and keep reading. And I will start tomorrow with Montezuma's Dilemma: Gods or Men. The only person that think they gods are the man that's writing this book. And also, I'm gonna start with the page that I left off in the Old Root and Herb Doctor, or Indian Method of Healing. So, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I apologize, for me getting a little upset, but I'm quite sure, anybody would when you hear how people just throw your people down like they garbage, and, you understand. I mean, which they've been doing forever, but I hope y'all enjoyed it. And leave me some comments. Let me know. Let me know something, I need to work on, and I will pray on it. Like I pray every night. Like when Judah said that, he called for the prayer. They pray at 6, and everybody on my side pray at 9. So I hope you brothers and sisters join in. And if you're on, I think I'm on the West Coast or the East, whatever side I'm on, y'all pray at 9, and the other brother, and on Judah's side, y'all pray at 6. So I hope we all join in as a family, collective, and call out to the Most High so he can chase these demons out of here. All right, y'all. Shalom.